Okay, so here's my final presentation for mobile programming. So my idea for this project was to make a version of Google Maps to find different classrooms and offices on campus. So a student would be able to find their professor's office or whatever classroom they have to go to, which I know can be a new and stressful experience when coming to college. So this app would mainly be targeted towards freshmen or new students during like the first few weeks of class before they get the feel for campus. It'll have a second, smaller user base of visitors to campus, but I decided to focus on new students because visitors often have either a tour guide or they're coming to see sports. So those people on the sports team or the coach would be able to guide them around, or they're visiting a student here, so then that student would be able to guide them around. But maybe there's some event that you're coming to when you're a visitor and you need to find out, I need to go to like this classroom. So I decided to also have those as a smaller database. And so I think that this would really decrease the stress of going to a new school. I know, especially during when I first came to Quincy during orientation week, we took our like small orientation group around, and they were like, okay, where does everybody have classes, so then we can show you that. And I think that if you either can't make orientation week, or you have, or you're a transfer student and you don't have orientation, or some other reason, or they just decide to not take you around, being able to like map out where all your classes are before the first day of school, when you're like on a time crunch of like, I don't want to be late to class, I want to make sure that I get there, I get a good seat. I think that this app would be very useful for that. So to break it down, we have one main activity and then we have two helper classes, room list and room. So first let's talk about room. So room just holds all the information for any given room. It has the number, any alt name that it would have. For example, in the basement, B10 is the mailroom. So maybe you don't know what room number the mailroom is, but you're like, I have to go to the mailroom. And then also the image of that room, or a string holding the location of that image. And then it also has three different arrays that hold sets of directions. So this first directions array just holds like, okay, I have to go left, then forward, then right, then left, then right, then forward. And to get to the way that this is laid out is that every room has the directions to get to the elevator, because the idea is if you're on the same floor, you might be able to find it yourself, or I think that there would be more confusion trying to go to different floors of like, is it laid out different? Like, is 403 on a different spot in the building than 303 would be? Kind of that thing. So the main idea is we'll deal with rooms that are on different floors first, and then have special cases for those that are not on the same screen. And then we also have direction pictures too. So what you would see when you're walking to the elevator, and then direction pictures from what you're doing to take out of the elevator. And then it also has two functions called make number int, which, so say in the basement you need to go to B33. This would make that number, instead of B33, just 33. And then we also have make number string, which say you were like, we're using 33 to find out where it is, but we need it to go back to its full name of B33. So it has a string for that too. And room list is the second helper class. It just basically organizes non-display parts of the code. So it is just holding all of the rooms. It's holding all the rooms. It holds all the room names. And then it also has two arrays that hold the directions from the start room to the finish room, and the direction images for there that we will fill up as we go through the steps. So we have a little create function, we have the fill room names, and later we have fill rooms, which is just every room on campus and their directions. So then we also have find room name, so you give it the room object and it gives you back a string of the room name. And then we have find room object, you give it the name, it gives you back the room object. So now let's talk about the XML files. They're pretty simple. You just got the home screen, which the only thing that's not just for this, the only functional part of it is this get started button. So then next we have the enter start, which has a drop down spinner. So you can select it, which will be filled up by that room list object, and then the continue button. Enter destination, it's very similar. And then the map view is the one that you're using the most. This is the actual directions. So right now it says move forward 10 feet, which is just like filler text, but that will fill up with being like, okay, turn left. All right, now you need to move forward. And then it'll show a picture where those big green grid is right now, and then the next button, and then the final one, which is just you've arrived. And then it'll have a picture, and then it'll have a return to home to get back to the home screen. So then now, if we scroll all the way back to the top, I will demo it while going through the code and explaining. So it makes 2 rooms for the start and the end, and it also makes a room list. On create, it just calls this start, so then we can run it multiple times. Start makes the new room list and creates it to make sure that we don't, if you go from room to room to room, there's no writing over the old stuff. So then if you have, say, going from one room to another room, that's 4 directions, but then the second time you use it, it's only 3 directions, and so that 4th one is still from the first time, so you just want to write over it. And so the only thing that it does is it gets the button, and once you click it, it calls the enter start function, which takes you to this class. And so you can see all of the rooms on there. So let's go from, say, the employee lounge in the basement to student financial services. Say I look up, I'm by the employee lounge, and I have to go to student financial services. So then it will go, that's the enter destination thing, and if it's the same start and end, it just takes you straight to you've reached your destination, you don't need to move anywhere. And then, but if it's not, we'll call it map view on the button click, which starts this map view. So it sets the content view to map view, and then it does some stuff where it looks for the floor number, and if they're not the same, we're just going to do that thing where we go, okay, I know that, let's just go to the elevator, so we're going to turn left out of the room, we're going to move forward, we're going to turn right to the elevator, we're going to go up to floor 1, we're going to turn left, we're going to move forward, and we're going to turn left, and then we've arrived at 105 Student Financial Services. So that's how you do that. So then, if they're on the same floor, we need to see if they're on opposite sides of the building. So the employee lounge is facing away from the elevator, it's to the left, whereas the advancement office is to the right. So We're going to turn left. And basically what this is doing is it's calling a function called start to elevator, no elevator, and end to elevator, no elevator, which sounds confusing, but I promise is very simple. It just takes out the part where it's like, hey, turn into the elevator and go in the elevator. So it just like skips the part where you get to this. So it's, you just walk to where the elevator is, and then you keep walking, so you can still use those directions that we had set earlier. Move forward, turn left, move forward, turn right, and you've arrived at the advancement office. Then let's do, so then, that's if they're on the same floor, but they're on opposite sides. Then, if they're on the same side of the building, we need to see if they're in the same hallway. So, for example, the conference room in the basement and the business office are on the same hallway. You're going to turn left, you're going to move forward, and then you've arrived at B33, the conference office. So that's what it does there. And then we have special cases. And then, so it sees if you're going what I called upstream, which is towards the higher room numbers, versus going downstream, which is towards the lower numbers, which was just an easy way to organize which direction you're going in. Because if you're going away from the elevator, we need to do that. Those pictures are going to be different than if we're facing the opposite direction. So then, if we're not in the same hallway, then we break it down by what halls you're in. So there's 4 hallways that I broke down. The one, hallway 1 is the main hallway. Just that big long hallway on all of the floors, that has like the front desk, and a bunch of those offices on the first floor. Then we have hallway 2, which on the second and third floor, once you get to the side closer to like Friars Field, there's like a little zigzag. So that needs an extra turn. So that little zigzag down by like the ASL lab and the women's restroom are hall 2. Then there's hall 3, which is closer to the side of the building towards C-Lot and towards the road. We have that little perpendicular hallway that like the cybersecurity lab and your office are in. So that's hallway 3, and then hallway 4, there's a little side hallway off of hallway 3 that I believe on the second floor holds the server room, and then there's also like another classroom. I know that on the 4th floor, that's where a lot of the art classrooms are. I know printmaking is up there, so that's the 4 hallways. So we just go by which end. So we have a specific. If we're going from hallway 1 to hallway 2, we know we're going downstream towards lower numbers. So we have this, all right, we want to move forward. Well, we need to see which side of the hallway we're on to turn right or left to go towards hallway 2, towards downstream. And then we have the directions. And so we need to get those directions based on the floor for those pictures. So we know that hall 2 is only on the second and third floors, so we only need to worry about second and third floor pictures. And then hallway 2 to hallway 1, just do the same thing in reverse. And then it has this for hallway 1 to hallway 3. And then hallway 3 to hallway 1, and it's just breaking that down by, we know what direction we have to go on all of the floors. If you're going from hallway 1 to hallway 3, you're going to take the same steps. The only difference is what pictures are. like, obviously, it'll be what classrooms are on that floor. So that's how I'm breaking that down. Yeah, so I think that this project would be very beneficial to those who aren't well acquainted with campus yet, especially like knowing all of the names and the alternate names. Being like, I was told to go to the registrar's office, but I don't know what room number that is. And I think that this project especially made me very much try to understand how I'm organizing this code, because I think that I would, as you saw last week, I turned into a version that didn't have any pictures yet, because I was like, it's just pictures. How hard can it be? And it was indeed very hard. Just trying to make sure that all those pictures worked correctly. And so I think that if I did the pictures, if I was working with all the pictures at the same time, I would have laid it out slightly differently, but I was able to put the pictures in with the way that it's laid out currently. But I think that this project went pretty well, and it helped me. It very much boosted my confidence with using Android Studio and Kotlin. Before this, I was very confused, and then I was like, okay, let's sit down, let's work through this process. And I think that having this big project really helped cement all those ideas in my brain. So yeah.